Kawhi Leonard lit up Derek Favors, and the LA Clippers tied up their series with the Utah Jazz at 2 apiece. They win it 118-104, basically winning it in the first quarter when they outscored Utah 30-13. Welcome in. It's Playoff Central Live presented by AT&T 5G. Good to have you with us. Kyle Korver, the All-Star, with us right there. Steve Smith, the All-Star, right there. I'm Matt Weiner. Not an All-Star. That's okay. We talk about, fourth quarter execution all the time. How about first quarter execution and the fact that the LA Clippers basically blew this open in the opening 12 minutes?
When I played for Tom Thibodeau in Chicago, he would talk about this all the time, and he would say that the fourth quarter is different, and you got to be ready to meet the challenge in the fourth quarter, but that games are often won or lost in the first quarter. When a team's not ready to play or out of sync early, and you get in this big hole or get this big lead, and I thought, that was the case tonight. The Clippers came out tough, hitting threes, playing well, making the extra pass, and Utah just didn't quite. They just weren't in sync tonight. I thought they really missed Mike Conley tonight. So another ball handler to get them in their sets and just slow them down a tick. But the first quarter was key tonight for sure.
Yeah, it looked like to your point, Kyle, like everybody was hunting shots, going one-on-one. And usually Utah, we've watched them throughout the regular season. When they have great offensive possession, the ball snaps and it kicks. It goes around. Rudy dives. He catches it. He kicks it to the corner. It comes around the wing. And it gets all the way around to the other corner. You're not seeing that right now. It's a lot of dribbling. This is the most I've seen in a while from a Utah Jazz team, a lot of dribbling. And I know, obviously, the wing guys, the defensive wing guys of the Clippers are speeding them up a little bit. They do need Mike Conley because I think he would have an advantage because of his quickness, his experience, getting downhill, making those little floaters, and it'll take some pressure off Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he had his points tonight, but it was a struggle for him in the last two games, especially the defensive assignment they're doing. They're not really trapping, Kyle. They're just saying, I'm going to stay here. You're back in front, and then we'll go back and get back over to our man. So good game plan for T. Lue and the Clippers is working right now because that's the only guy they have right now that can break down the defense.
Mitchell had 37 on 26 shots, 6 straight 30-point playoff game for Donovan Mitchell that ties Karl Malone's franchise record. But that first quarter was a grease fire for Utah. They shot under 29%, 1 of 7 from three-point range, and 6 turnovers. So looking forward, we don't know if Mike Conley is going to be ready for Game 5 on Wednesday night or not, or for the series for that matter with that hamstring injury. If Conley's not available, what can Utah do to get back to looking like a Utah offense?
Well, I think the first thing for them is they're going to go home and they're going to play in front of some really passionate fans where they typically play really well, where they're going to be a bit more comfortable. And I think they just felt a tick fast all the time to me in their decision making, in their shot selection. They just felt a bit fast, and sometimes that happens when you're on the road. And so I think going back home, getting to watch this film, I think Donovan and Jordan Clarkson, I think they got some points tonight, but I think they got to do a little bit better job of kind of passing the ball around, and I think they'll watch the film and do that and be ready for Game 5. Yeah,
and I think for them is defensively, they're going to have to find a way to slow down this Paul George Kawhi identical scoring nights that they're having.
Bizarre.
Averaging the same, scoring again the same, but I think the one thing I do like what I'm seeing from Paul George, he's north and south. A lot of times at his size, there's a great handle, but it's 2 or 3 dribbles east and west in the same spot. More of the last 2 games is 1, the second dribble is 2, the third dribble is all going from each level. And I think if he does that, he has the size and the strength to take the bump and then to make the next play. But when Paul takes the hit, comes back left, comes back right, and then it usually is a contested jump shot. So I think for him is to stay north and south in each dribble trying to gain ground, and that collapses the defense of the Utah Jazz.
If you haven't been following this weird statistical anomaly, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are averaging the exact same number of points to the decimal point in this series, and each scored 31 tonight. So that'll remain the case, tied up at 2.
Early telling the players that they were in their own heads on offense and everything would be okay if you could just string together some stops defensively. What did you feel like was kind of the main issue on that end of the court, especially early on?
I think really one of the first couple of possessions we actually had some good defensive possessions, but we gave up second chance points. We gave up, a couple offensive rebounds, which I think are deflating. And then, a lot of times when you're struggling on offense, I've said this, for our team, if we can get stops, it, allows us to find some rhythm in transition. We were playing hard. We were competing. We weren't playing. We weren't playing smart, and that we weren't connected. And that showed with the 13-point first quarter that we were trying to attack, but we weren't attacking as much. We weren't putting ourselves in situations where we could have success. And I think again the defense can cover up for that to an extent, and allow you to sputter a little bit offensively, but in this case we were giving up baskets too, and suddenly you've got a big deficit. I like the fact that we continue to compete. I think there's obviously you don't want to take a loss like this, but there's game 5, and to the extent that we have to take some things that we did do well as the game progressed and try to replicate them. And then look at things like, giving a team 38 free throws, and the discipline that we have in that situation, and making sure we're getting back and not giving up offensive rebounds, because it's hard to overcome those things. You almost have to be perfect on the other end, and we weren't that either.
Sarah Todd, Deseret News.
When you're mentioning the offensive rebounds, what do you think was the biggest breakdown in the reason that the Clippers were able to kind of get their hands on those?
Well, offensive rebounding is, or I should say defensive rebounding is usually a collective effort. A combination of just, an initial awareness and urgency. And, I didn't think we were as locked in on that. And then, there's different types of rebounds, and particularly a lot of them that they were chasing down, were going to the boards instead of going back to a body and essentially trying to make sure that they don't get it, as opposed to any one of us getting the ball. So I have to look at the possessions. I'm sure there's a bunch of different things that happened, whether we got caught in a rotation or something along those lines. But the biggest thing is, I think those plays are really deflating. When you basically have gotten a stop and a team misses, then you allow them to get another shot. And usually those second shots are either around the rim, or they end up being clean looks, and usually from 3, and that's what happened.
Amy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune.
When Rudy only got to 32 minutes tonight, and some of that was definitely due to foul trouble. And I'm just kind of curious. He's played generally fewer minutes than other stars have, maybe on other teams in this year's playoffs. Do you feel like there's a minute target you're trying to get to with Rudy, or how are you approaching his minutes in these playoffs?
Well, Rudy can be dominant when he's out there. He fouled out of one game this year. It happened to be in the playoffs. He's in foul trouble tonight. In a couple of the games where we've pulled people out, he hasn't got minutes at the back end of a game. So no one has to kind of persuade me to play Rudy. We know how good he is and how much we need him. So as I said, the foul trouble is something that hurts us to not have him out there, and we like to extend him, and we do, and we'll continue to, and that's every game's got a little different flow to it, but obviously Rudy's someone that that we need on the floor.
Okay, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
What happened? We just gave you the numbers.
How did it change?
How did it change? Somebody's got to explain
that we didn't see.
Anyway,
One and the same when we started.
Pre-game they were the same. How did it change? I don't know. Now you're making a liar out of me. All right, let's go to Toronto. We'll sort this out and hear what he had to say about the Clipper win.
Get up. And we'll go ahead and start with Nick Hamilton. You can go ahead.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Nick.
What did you see from Marcus Morris that may be a little bit different in this series that you saw tonight, and especially in that first half?
His brother was here. We're going to take him to Utah with us, too. But, no, I just think, just taking his shots, taking them with confidence. We know he can make. We got a lot of confidence in him. And just step up and taking shots. And tonight we need every bit of it. Going 5 for 5 in the first half. That was just great. That got us off to a good start.
Thanks, Nick. Over the law.
What's going on, Ty? You mentioned on Sunday that you wanted to start these halves better. And that first quarter, that was the best first quarter that he played in the series by far. What do you think was the key to that?
I thought it was our defense, really setting the tone, defensively, only giving up 13 points in that first quarter. We was able to get out in transition. But I thought our physicality, our attention to detail was pretty good tonight. Of course, we made some mistakes, and that's going to happen, when you're playing a game of basketball. But overall, I thought we were really locked in, and, we really took advantage of what we did defensively to get out in transition.
Kawhi didn't finish this game, or at least he was on the bench, but you had Dude come in and close this out. Just wanted to check to make sure everything's good with Kawhi and your decision on letting everybody else finish the job tonight.
Yeah, I think so. We'll know more after the game, but yeah, I think everybody's pretty good.
Let's go over to Justin Russo.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. Paul George has been very aggressive at driving to the rim, especially when Derek Favors has been in the game. Has that been the added emphasis for guys like him when Favors is in the game?
Yeah, we've been talking about this since game 2, just how we want to attack, what we want to attack. And like I said, PG did a great job of just, getting to the basket, getting to the free throw line 10 times. And we know the formula, how we want to play, and like I said, just attacking his team the way we want to, but it's going to start with our defense. And I thought tonight, we really played some great defense. Donovan made some tough, crazy shots, like he's capable of doing. But, just paying attention to detail, I thought we was great. They made some desperation threes, to kind of get them back in the game a little bit. But overall, I just loved where we was at. I loved our physicality. I loved the way we battled.
Thanks, Justin. We'll go over to Pappy.
What's up, Coach? Historically, you've shown to be a master at making adjustments from game to game in the playoffs. I guess, can you give us some insight about what goes into that process and what allowed you to be so fluid with that?
Well, I think just, understanding what a team's trying to do. I think how they're trying to attack you on the defensive end, what they're looking for and how they're trying to attack you. That's one. And then on the other side of the basketball, us offensively, just seeing what the defense is trying to take away. And once you can kind of get a feel and see what they're doing, then you can try to take advantage and capitalize on that. And like I said, I give my coaching staff a lot of credit. They've done a great job. Our players have done a great job of adjusting. We started small for game 1, started big game 2, and then started small again games 3 and 4. But our team being able to adjust on the fly is doing a way better job than we did in that first series against Dallas. So, just not only me, I give my coaching staff a lot of credit. I kind of dive into it head first and just try to look at ways we can exploit teams and what we can try to take away. And then, those guys kind of piggyback and we just kind of talk it out and just try to see what we want to do. And, that's kind of how we operate. So not just me, our coaching staff, they have a lot of great suggestions. And then we just try to, put it together and try to execute it. Like I said, the last 2 games, our team has been doing a good job of it.
Let's take a couple more. We'll go to Ramona.
Hey, Ty. Hey, that dunk that Kawhi has and then the block afterwards, is that the healthiest and the best he's looked, like in terms of athleticism and explosiveness that you've seen in a while?
No, I mean, he's been feeling good, all season long. But just attacking the basket, they put a center on him a couple times in the middle of the zone. I kind of like just, told him to attack, told him to be aggressive, and he got kind of mad. And then the next play, he came out and drove the lane and dunked the ball over Favors. So just having an attack mentality, that's what we got to do. Can't let this team off the hook. We got to make these guys defenders. We know how we want to play and what we want to do. So, we got a 29-point lead. I thought we got a little comfortable. Took some quick jump shots, some tough shots. Instead, just keep executing and keep grinding and keep making them defend us. And we'll learn from that.
Thanks, Ramoto. Thanks, Ramoto. We'll go home.
Hey, Ty, I know the circumstances are a little different because last time you were coming back home versus going on the road tied 2-2, but is there anything you carry with you as a lesson learned from the last time y'all played Game 5 after you guys were tied 2-2?
Not really. I mean, every series is different, but I do like our mindset. I do like the way that we know how we want to attack and how we want to approach the game. So that's the number one thing. But I just want to give Pat Beverly a lot of credit. Pat Beverly coming to the game defensively, what he did for us, he just totally changed the game. So, a total team win. Marcus Morris getting off to a great start. Kawhi and PG doing their thing, but I thought Pat Beverly really did a great job of coming in and setting that tone for us defensively. So, total team win. Game 5 is going to be a little different. We know we're going to a hostile environment. We just got to keep our poise and try to get off to a good start early in the game.
Thanks, Tom. And Tomer, you can go ahead and take the last question.
Hey, Ty, congrats on the win. Obviously, they're going to make shots. They weren't going to be that cold the entire game. But, is there any concern about them sort of gaining some confidence and getting a rhythm at the end of this game heading into next game at all?
Not at all. I mean, because they're going to play the same way regardless. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. That's what they do, So they're going to attempt a lot of threes, and we understand that. So the biggest thing for me and for our team is just understand they're going to make some tough ones. We know we got to pay a lot of attention to Donovan, who's creating a lot of stuff for them. But we just got to pick and choose and, turn our defense. We want to blitz or switch blitz, or if we want to just guard them head up. So, we guys have a feel for the game. And they're going to make some shots. When you double teaming someone, you're going to leave someone open. And I just thought we did a good job, 17 for 42. For as many as they shoot, that's not too many. So we'll be okay as long as we keep making our shots.
At the microphone in L.A.
Hey, Paul.
What up, what up?
Good to see you. Coach says that you and Kawhi are able to get a shot off anyone. However, he touches based on attacking the rim to make your teammates better. In a sense, do you feel like the title hopes rely on your shoulders, or are you able to trust and hand off some of that responsibility by creating opportunities for others on the team?
Yeah, I mean, we got full trust in our teammates. Myself and Kawhi got full trust in each other. It's a healthy mix. We're trying to be aggressive as well as being aggressive for others. It's opportunities for us to score when we get switches. But then there's opportunities to allow our teammates to be aggressive and make plays for our teammates when we can attack our mismatches. And so I think it's just a healthy mix. We got to be able to do both.
Arbad, you can go ahead.
Hey, PG, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Back-to-back games of 30 points, and, last game was your first 30-point game of the playoffs. How big of a point of emphasis was it for you, in games 3 and 4 to kind of take over the way you had?
I just gotta, be aggressive. Look for my shots. Try to find seams, try to find gaps. But I think just come out to be aggressive. Play with confidence, shoot the open jumpers, create space, and continue and just try to make the game easier for everyone around me.
And just a quick follow-up, how good was it for you, with all the fans here, to get that win in front of your parents, since it was hard to do in that first round until Game 7?
It's great. It's great to win here. We got to protect home court. This has to be a feared place. People come step into this arena, they should be feared. So, should be fearing us. So we got to create that environment. We got to create that atmosphere, and it starts with our play. And hopefully the fans bring that extra little bit for us. But it was great to do that in front of my parents. That's why I went over and gave them a hug and kiss tonight.
Mary, you good? I think Mary might have froze. Ramona, you can go ahead.
Hey, Paul. Hey, do you get more excited when Kawhi throws down a dunk like that, or does it block like you did on Bogdanovich? Which one gets you more excited?
Both. Both. He surprises you. With the stuff that he does and that he can do. So both of them, gets me, equally excited.
Does he look like, in terms of just health and explosiveness, does he look like a different level than he has maybe in the last month or so? Is he kind of rounding into form here?
Yeah, you see him being more aggressive. And you know what time it is. It's written all over them in terms of it's go time, it's playoff basketball, and ultimately it's winning time. And so you see it all around him. His approach, his body language, everything is to be great. And so he's leading the way.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Ramona. We'll go over to Law.
You said back-to-back 30 games. I mean, you've also been racking the minutes up and playing great on top of the workload. And I just want to know from you, like, how have you kind of adjusted to the workload, the minutes, as this postseason specifically has gone on? How have you been able to take care of your body throughout everything that you've been asked to do?
Just staying with a strict schedule as far as recovery. That's really just been the key. And T. Lou knows I would do wherever it takes. He trusts me out there in the situations, and so he knows I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win for our team and give our team the best chance. And so that's really the mindset. I don't look at the minutes. If I could, I would love to play 48. But that's just my mindset. I don't care what the minutes is. I'm out there to try to win a ball game.
We have time for a few more. We'll take one from Andrew.
Hey, PG, having been in this position last round where you finally grabbed the momentum back with 2 straight wins to even it and then to lose game 5, with that kind of in the back of your mind, I guess, could you just describe the focus you saw post-game in the locker room, assuming you guys want to keep this going and claim game 5 in Utah?
Yeah, game 5s are pivotal. And so that's the way we're looking at this. We got to go in there. We know it's going to be, even more hostile, but we got to drown out the noise and go there for one mission. And that one mission is to not come back there. And so, that's the mindset. We got to try to go and get game 5.
So, Mary, go ahead.
Hey, PG, congrats on the win. And you had a nice dunk, too. I didn't forget about that one. It seems like in the first 2 games, you guys didn't exploit their mismatches as much whenever you guys maybe got a small or a big on you. Just how much is this game one on those margins of really finding those mismatches and exploiting those more whenever you can?
That's playoff basketball. Play sets are typically they're going to get blown up. You're going to have to go to the second, third options. That's just playoff basketball. And so the luxury for us, we got playmaking players, we got isolation players. And so, this is what it comes down to, finding mismatches and exploiting it and, milking something that you see out there.
And last question from Claudia.
Well, congratulations on the win. The Jazz are a team you can coach on. How hard is to stay focused defensively and offensively?
It's not hard. Again, we got one job, and that's to go out there and try to win. And so that's the main focus, and that's always what we're focused on. So that part of it is not hard to be focused on what the goal is.
Postseason game for Mitchell.
Especially in the first quarter, did you guys find anything in that second half offensively, and is that something that you can carry over to game 5? And how much, if the answer is yes, how much was that you guys, and how much was that the Clippers?
I think we did find something. I think we found a few things, and we started to introduce a few things, so we're kind of getting used to it. And they just were at a different level, and couldn't buy a bucket, and sometimes that's the case, but we got to continue to guard, I think, throughout. So for us, just coming in the second half and just understanding what we got to do and how we did it, and I think we found a few things that'll get us an advantage and get us to where we go. And we started being aggressive and started shooting as a whole, and that's why we cut it to I think 10 or 12 or whatever. So if we can just continue that, and that's the way we played in the second half, and the first, and come out in game 5 and be ready, I think we'll be in good shape. But we also got to guard too.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com.
Donovan, along those lines, you said after game 3, they threw something different at you, and that was the difficulty to start the game. You had difficulties again to start this game. Did they throw anything different, or was it the same thing and you just couldn't solve
it? It was the same thing. I think we panicked. I wouldn't say panicked. We kind of got into the lane, and those turnovers I had won, the careless ones, where we're not thinking, because we've been thinking, and doing our thing. We knew it was coming. We knew how they were going to do it, but I think we shot ourselves in the foot a few times with the turnovers, and that's what really kind of played into there. But now they're playing in transition as opposed to playing in half court, and guys getting the rhythm. So for us, I think, we saw the same thing we saw game 3. We understood it. We got the spacing right, and we got everything right in the second half. But now we just got to go out there and defend. And when you allow a team to kind of get out in transition, get going early, it's tough to come back from that. But we fought and competed, and we'll look at the film and get ready for game 5.
Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Don, the Clippers have 18-1 advantage in second chance points, 12-0 in fast break points. What can you guys do to kind of generate some easier buckets at this point and to keep them off the glass? Because it seems like those have kind of been consistent themes throughout the series.
Well, we got to get, it's tough when they're getting long rebounds. And, start the game, Kawhi started off with a second chance point 3. Then he sees the ball go in, and he's an elite scorer. So, stuff like that gets guys going, gets guys on their team going, and, all the way down to Zubac at the end getting the tip out. We just got to go out there and just execute in that sense. I think that's the biggest thing for us, and we haven't done that yet. We've gotten 2 wins, even though we haven't necessarily done it, but we can be better at it, and we know that, and we got to make that a point of emphasis. And then also our turnovers lead to their transition points, and when you see the ball go in transition, it's easy to kind of get going. They had 3 guys and 20 points or more, I believe. Yeah, they got going. And you can't let a team like that get going in that sense, because they're lethal, and we just got to do a better job.
Christos Saltos, Sport DNA out of Greece.
Hey, Donovan. I would like to ask you, what are the takeaways for your team of those 2 games in Los Angeles, and what do you need to do in Game 5 to be the aggressor?
I think you said it. We have to be the aggressors. I think we have to come out. They've come out and hit first both times at home. And at the end of the day, they did what they were supposed to do. They won 2 games on their home floor. They took care of home court. So did we. It may not feel or look like it was. It may not look or feel that way, but that's what they were supposed to do, and we did the same thing. So now it's on us to go out there and be the aggressive, take care of home court, and go from there. I think we were up 2-0. We felt like we could have got one, we didn't. And we got to understand that it's 2-2, and we got to go out there and get the best out of 3 at this point.
Mark Medina, USA Today.
Hey Donovan, what's it been like carrying this workload without Mike in the lineup, and how have you been holding up overall physically?
It's been different. It's tough, It's tough, but that's the job at hand, and we've done a great job as a group. We've tried to throw different looks and do different things, but it's tough, but it is what it is.
Rebecca Harlow, TNT.
Donovan, there were times tonight where we heard Quinn Snyder saying that he felt like you guys were in your heads. Is that a fair assessment? And if that's the case for you, how do you get your guys going back to that place where you're just playing instinctually and trusting what you guys have been doing all year long?
I think the biggest thing is the way we played in the second half, looking at that part of the film and understanding that that's who we are, it's what we do. And even still, we didn't play a perfect half. So for us, I think being able to take that half, look at it, and go back home with that same energy, I think is huge. And if we can go out there and do that, it's a tale of 2 halves the past 2 games for us. We have to understand we got to put it together completely. We got to take care of home court. They came out and punched us in the face twice, and we got to be ready for it.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Donovan.
Thank you.
They'll do it again on Wednesday night. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers bounce back again. You can just sense Kawhi is still excited about the dunk on Derek Favors. I mean, that's the vibe I got from them. I don't know about you guys. Game 5 happens Wednesday night on TNT, 10 o'clock Eastern time. So, they say the series doesn't begin until somebody wins on the road. Nobody's won on the road here yet so far. So I guess the series hasn't begun. There's a chance it can begin on Wednesday night. Advantage who?
I think right now I would say advantage Utah because they're going back to Utah, and would love to know if Mike Conley is healthy or not to be able to play. But I think Utah, obviously, it's hard to win up there, and I think they will definitely shoot better. The one thing I would say, and just looking at this game, they can't be a negative 17 on second chance points. That's where Rudy and those guys got to clean that up. But I think also fast break points. I mean, you look at it, that was the turnovers, bad shots, and they're getting out. So those areas I think they have to clean up. And I think for them is play Utah Jazz basketball. I didn't see that today. The ball didn't move. It wasn't hopping around. It was a lot of isolation. So they have to get back to that.
Yeah, Kyle, somehow it feels like Utah's 19 assists were less impactful than the Clippers' 19 assists. And you mentioned Mike Conley and his return. How big of a boost would that be for Utah if he's available on Wednesday? And again, we don't know.
If he is. And, obviously it'd be a big boost for them. But there's a lot of things that they can do better anyway. I think in this series, I mean, the home team has really fed off the crowd. So I think going back to Utah is going to be big for them. But there's a lot of things that they can do better. I think, Donovan's points were so easy in the first two games. I mean, he hit tough shots, but, it just felt like he was more in a flow. And so I'm curious when he goes back home with the adjustments that they'll make with this kind of soft double team that they're kind of showing him. Are they going to figure that out and be able to get him unlocked? Because he's working, he's scoring a lot of points, but he's working really hard for him. He's kind of forcing it a little bit. So if they can get home, get him some easier looks, get the ball moving a little bit, which they're very capable of doing, they can come back and win.
A Utah crowd is always raucous at playoff time. And if you didn't catch this, when the series moves back to L.A. on Friday night, Staples Center will be at full capacity for the first time for the Clippers. You can see all the press conferences on NBA.com after every post-game, all our post-game coverage, I should say, after every playoff game. And, of course, we have it for you here as well. Kyle, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Kyle Korver, Steve.